sermon for 13th Sunday of the year, 2022. Foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. There is no record in the Gospels of any sort of house that our Lord used to stay in. He was brought up in Nazareth with Our Lady and St. Joseph and was taught how to be a carpenter by St. Joseph, because he was known as Jesus the Carpenter. All the apostles were known by their trade name. Peter, James and John were fishermen, Luke was a doctor, Matthew was a tax collector, Paul was a tent maker. During the 3 years of his public ministry, our Lord had called his disciples. He seems to have spent the time wandering from town to town, preaching the Gospels, speaking in the synagogues, performing miracles. The story of the marriage feast of Cana is a curious incident because it shows that our Lord and his mother Mary were invited to a wedding, and it seems to be before the call of the disciples, because this was his first miracle, and there's no mention of the other disciples being present. He also mentions about putting your hand to the plough, and he who looks back is not worthy of the kingdom of heaven. So on this occasion our Lord is telling people that they must be single-minded about following him, even to the point of letting others bury the dead. So they must have been on the road every day, not really putting down roots anywhere, but moving from town to town and village to village. That is why the church has always been missionary in its outlook. All the apostles and early saints went out to preach the gospel. The gospel message was taken to the ends of the earth. There is not a single country that has not had the gospel preached to it. Some have rejected it, like the communist countries, for instance China, where the government gives the church a hard time. The government tries to control major decisions of the church and can resist the appointments of bishops by the Vatican or the building of churches in the community. So we should always be grateful that we live in a society where these restrictions don't impact on our faith.